Parents, I heard another story about one parent who doesn't believe in ADHD and the other parent does. And this is a pretty tragic situation, and I'm not even being dramatic. By the way, what's up? My name is Seth with SethPerler.com. I'm an executive function coach at Colorado, and I help struggling students navigate this thing called education so they can have a great life. And I have heard this story so many times where one parent believes in autism or Asperger's or dyslexia or ADHD and one person doesn't. One parent thinks, oh, the kid just needs to try harder. They need to work harder. They need to apply themselves more. And it's such bullshit. And it is really disturbing to me because it's no joke, because we're talking about a kid's life. Yes, there's a place for skepticism. Sure, question it, research it, but research it. Because if we don't address the kids' needs and we end up not addressing needs that limit their future and limit their potential and limit their ability because our ego is too sensitive and delicate that we can't be challenged and we're going to just stick to what we think, and this kid is continuing to suffer, is really, really disturbing to me to see. I do what I do in terms of my career, in terms of serving kids, because I believe that human beings should have a good crack at having a great life. And I believe in education. And I believe that education's job is to empower people to have the tools that they need to have a great life. And if you can't execute, that's a problem. So when I see an adult who's this resistant, it's deeply disturbing to me because I have seen what happens when kids grow up, not only to myself, but other kids that I've worked with who have grown up not believing in themselves, who struggle with mental health issues, who struggle with self-confidence, who struggle with career, who struggle with relationships, who struggle with finances, who struggle. And had they been given what they needed, we could have alleviated or bypassed a lot of their struggles. And it's just not okay. So if I seem a bit more emotional today about this topic than usual, it is because this just pisses me off. So anyhow, it's just really sad when kids fall through the cracks and they don't have to. Now, to be compassionate to the person who's being challenged, so you got a husband and wife in this case, but I've also heard this where people say, where a parent will say that their parents, so the grandparents, don't believe in ADHD or don't believe in it, whatever it is, right? That it's just a matter of the kid just needs to work harder. They need to try harder. They need to care more. They need to be more rigorous. They need to be more disciplined. They need to just motivate themselves. It's so frustrating. It's such, I did it. If I did it, why can't they? It's just ignorant. Ignorance is fine. Skepticism is fine. But when you're an adult, it is time to say, whoa, the kid's struggling. The kid's suffering. What do we need to learn? What do we need to do to help the kid? Not put the blinders on and be like, oh, they just need to choose. So the question isn't, is ADHD fake? The question is, what skills does this child need to develop in order to launch a happy, healthy, and successful future? The question is, what skills does this kid need? Okay, so forget the diagnosis. Fine, so you don't believe in it. Who cares? Let's go back to the question. What does this kid need? What skills do they need in order to be able to accomplish goals, to accomplish meaningful tasks that are going to help them have a good future? We also have, with ADHD in particular, but with other things, we have the question of medication, which is outside the scope of this video. But the placebo effect has been well documented and well studied. And whether a medication is used or not, the placebo effect is so important, but the placebo effect also in believing in someone. And believing the wrong story, oh, they just need to try harder, is not a good placebo. But the placebo of, I believe in you, we can do this, we can figure this out, let's do this, is very powerful. So anyhow, I want to mention that. I have a few other things I want to mention. If a parent does not buy in to that ADHD is real, or whatever the case is, does that parent at least have the relational skills in your relationship to have real, meaningful dialogue about your child? If your spouse does not have those relational skills, then the services or help or support that your child is going to get is just dependent on you. And at that point, you either accept it or you don't accept it and you change it. But if they don't have those relational skills, that happens, unfortunately. So you got to say, well, what are we going to do in that case? If they don't have the relational skills and I can't make them have the relational skills and they don't want to have the relational skills to have real dialogue about the kid, then it's really up to you. What can you do? So what can you do, regardless of whether or not they buy into it? Number one, I would say continue advocating with your spouse or partner or whoever the person is who doesn't believe in the thing. Continue advocating for that child, trying to get their support and understanding, because their support matters and it helps, and any support the child can get is going to help. These kids need healthy, securely attached relationships. I talk about that all the time. Relationships are everything. For the kid to feel seen, heard, understood, known, to have healthy people in their life is such an empowering thing for them. It's probably the biggest game changer. So continue advocating. 2, learn everything you can about ADHD or executive function or comorbidities, which you can look up on your own or what have you. But continue learning everything you can. 3, there are 6 pillars to helping kids. So 1, like I said before, continue advocating. 2, learn everything you can about whatever the issue is. But 3, use these 6 pillars. Kids who struggle with executive function need systems. They need mindsets. They need habits and routines. They need emotional regulation skills. And they need reflection and introspection. And they need the relationship with you. So I'm going to go over that again. If your kid is going to learn the executive function skills so that they can have a great life, they're going to need to learn systems. My website is filled with that, but they need to learn systems of executive function, of how to plan, of how to organize, yada, yada. They need mindsets of, yeah, I can do this. I can figure it out. Yes, I'm resistant. Yes, I don't feel like it. Yes, I procrastinate. Yes, I don't feel motivated, but I have the mindset to say, I can do this. I can figure this out. I can accomplish this. So mindsets. Next, they need the habits and routines. Habits, good study habits, good relational habits, et cetera, et cetera. Next, they need systems for emotional regulation skills. Emotional regulation, working with their nervous system, healthy attachment, all these sorts of things. Next, they need skills of reflection, introspection, self-awareness, mindfulness. They need to build reflection so that they can learn from their mistakes and so that they can grow. And next, they need the healthy and securely attached relationships. They need you. They need your support. So with that, I hope that was helpful. It is not an easy, I do not envy you if you're in that situation. But continue advocating, learn everything you can, and then do your best to use the 6 pillars. Again, my name is Seth Perler. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. If you like this, please share with somebody. It means a lot to me. And leave a comment below. What do you do when people think that what's going on with your kid is fake, or that they just need to try harder or care more or just choose to be more? How do you deal with that? What advice do you have for us? Take care.